This is the Indonesia Channel.
Coming up in today's Indonesia, the evolution of the country's political party system, why less means more.
Our Business Watch focuses on a domestic computer maker seeking to boot up overseas.
And we profile the high-end fashions and philosophy of designer Hari Darsono. Hello and welcome to today's Indonesia from Jakarta. I'm Dalton Tanonaka.
Selamat berjumpa lagi. I'm Luisa Kusnandar. Thank you for joining us. And now, as Indonesia develops, so does its political system.
The most visible sign of that development is the number of political parties competing in elections. As the Indonesia Channel's Prisma Kinanti reports, less is translating into more.
When voters go to the polls on July 9, they'll be voting for coalitions made up of 12 different parties. That's down significantly from 38 parties in the 2009 elections, which analysts say is the result of growing political maturity. This shrinkage is kind of like going back to the future. In the years before the fall of President Suharto in 1998, Indonesia basically had a single-party government system. From the 1971 election through the end of the New Order period, the country was ruled by Golongan Karya, the party of functional groups, Golkar for short. The opposition parties that formed during the Suharto dictatorship and still exist today are the United Development Party or PPP and the Indonesian Democratic Party or PDI. In the first election following the end of Suharto's rule, a true multi-party system emerged. The past two legislative elections was a testament to a fledgling democracy with no political party managing to win an overall majority of seats. A changing political map meant more parties fighting to qualify for elections. In April, voting for parliament, the top four were the Indonesian Democratic Party of Struggle, PDIP, Gerindra, or the Indonesian Great Movement Party, the ruling Democratic Party, Demokrat, and Golkar. The two coalitions facing off for presidency are led by Gerindra's Prabowo Subianto and Joko Widodo of the PDIP. Even though Golkar won more seats than Gerindra, its unpopular leader faced political reality. Instead of demanding a place on the ticket, Abu Rizal Bakri settled in behind the former Special Forces General against the populist Jakarta Governor Jokowi.
Masyarakat mau melihat orang yang populer dan disukai, apa masyarakat mau cari pemimpin yang mampu memimpin Indonesia. Dua-duanya berjalan bersama-sama. Jadi saya kira 2014 ini masih akan terjadi sesuatu persaingan antara kapabilitas melawan popularitas.
The outgoing president said his party is staying neutral.
Dalam arti tidak bergabung dalam kubu manapun, baik kubu Pak Joko Widodo maupun kubu Pak Prabowo Subianto.
Analysts say without a clear-cut candidate to rally around, a system has evolved, in which parties position themselves for places in the next administration.
Yang terjadi akhirnya adalah koalisi bagi-bagi kekuasaan, mereka bicara jatah kursi menteri, mereka berbicara mengenai cawapres, mereka berbicara mengenai jatah BUMN, belum lagi ketika berbicara faktor abu-abu bernama mahar.
The one wild card in the race, the man leading pre-election surveys himself. Widodo says he has not promised anyone or any party positions in government for their support. If that holds true, it would be the next step in a political system coming of age. Prisma Kinanti, the Indonesia Channel, Jakarta.
And our viewpoint analyst joins us now.
We get his perspective on the changing influence of political parties. Witoelar is a former presidential spokesman, now currently running his own communications company. Wimar, welcome back. Regarding this topic, I mean, you know, it's like night and day. Before and after Suharto, describe for those who don't know it, who didn't live here, the dominance, the utter dominance during the New Order period.
Well, the parties were just window dressing for a system of autocracy, but Suharto relied on an image of democracy to be in the good graces of the Western world, receive aid, etc. So he set up three parties. He single-handedly appointed the officers of the three parties, Golkar, the PDI, and the PPP. were filtering out or screening out those who are critical of him. So it was a no contest, and the Golkar always won upwards of 73% each election.
Yes, Golkar seemed very dominant at that point.
It was the only party.
Exactly. So what about the opposition party? We have PDI and then we also have PPP. Did anyone pay attention to all the other parties?
No, but they used the time, I think, to practice parliamentary procedures and to an extent train the cadres outside. And in the case of PDI, somebody found a genuinely different voice in there, Megawati, and sponsored her with people who are in the Suharto government, to the displeasure of Suharto. So there was some inner politics within the PDI, which resulted in a party called PDIP. But P3 was just docile, it was the lamb pet.
And like you said, it was mostly window dressing. Let's jump ahead to 1999, the first elections. How did parties actually organize? I mean, they probably didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to handle themselves.
Well, parties were given full freedom, and that really caused confusion among the public, but nobody complained because it's a nice breath of fresh air after all this period of no choice. So eventually they drifted around, and it was a harmonious time when everybody just found their own places in the elections.
Right. In 2004, let's jump to 2004, which was the first directly elected president. Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono created the Democratic Party.
Isn't it 2009 which is directly elected?
2004?
No,
2004.
Yes, this is the first term.
Right. And then Prabowo Subianto now has done the same with Gerindra. It seems that parties can arise based on personalities rather than philosophies. Do you believe so too?
Well, we have had two parties which arose on personalities, the Democrat Party under SBY and the Gerindra Party under Prabowo. So now the Gerindra Party is the only one who came out from the personal profile or personal ambition of one guy. The others are either historically existing parties or amalgamation of.
I guess we could say PDIP is a personality kind of cult party too, based on Sukarno, going back to the...
No, at that time the PNI was not Sukarno. It was Abdul Ghani and a bunch of other guys, and Sukarno was the orator. But there were some political people, political thinkers in the PNI. And when the PDI came about, yes, PDIP came about, Megawati inherited the mantle, but she never had a political intelligence that her father had. So
She just had the name, basically.
she was basically used to further the ambitions of people who were in the PDIP.
Okay, last question, Wimar. In other countries, there are usually two dominant parties, maybe with a third one thrown in, independent. How soon do you think Indonesia will get to that point, maturing as an electoral system?
I think if Jokowi wins, we might see that evolution because people want fewer parties. If Prabowo wins, I don't think we will have a multi-party system in 5 years. I think we'll be set back in the democracy because he is an autocratic person who believes in singular leadership, and people who support him also want a disciplinary rather than a democratic.
So then parties will splinter again because no one knows who
I
to
think
follow.
if Prabowo wins, he will have something like the Suharto time, maybe in milder form. Yeah, because he, that's all the signs point there.
All right, July 9th, we'll find out. Viewpoint analyst Wimar Witoelar, thank you very much, sir, as always. Now, to our first look at the weather.